Welcome to The Conscious Creative from MuseWorks Audio. The Conscious Creative is a podcast featuring interviews with artists who are doing transformational work in their craft and in their communities. Join us as we discuss different artistic philosophies, give you brand new tools to bring back to your creative spaces, and build a community of artists dedicated to deepening their relationship with their craft. I'm your host, Mike Irish. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to episode lucky number 13 of The Conscious Creative. It's New Year's, so I figured I would just do one solo, let you guys know a little bit more about myself. I'm going to keep the intro really short, no ads or anything like that, because you're going to hear a lot of my voice over the next 20 minutes. Surprisingly, I really enjoyed making this episode. I thought it would be a little bit weird talking by myself, but I think that there's some good nuggets in here. You can get to know a little bit more about me as well, because mostly I'm sitting back listening to people. I just went over what the first year at MuseWorks Audio during a pandemic has been like, what I'm looking forward to doing next year and working on next year, what I'm doing outside of the studio as well, and the impact that I want to leave with my creations, as well as a healing journey that I went on with a song that I wrote. I hope you enjoy the episode, and I really look forward to everything I got going on in the new year, and I hope you continue listening and tuning in, because I'm going to have more guests, great conversations, and it's just going to get better and better here at The Conscious Creative. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy. I figured that now is high time to do a podcast about myself, with myself. You know, it's the holidays as well, so things are pretty crazy for everybody. So I figured just keep it simple and bring you guys in a little on the journey of what I've been doing here at MuseWorks Audio, what's going on outside of my life, what my goals are moving forward, and also diving into what my creative process looks like and what my experience has been as an artist myself, because that's something that I haven't really talked about yet on the podcast. And I like to think that I have something interesting to say on that topic. So the journey so far for MuseWorks Audio. So I started MuseWorks Audio in 2020 at the beginning of COVID. So it's been a crazy, crazy journey for me so far. Really, I've learned so much about business and having a good mindset towards business and towards failure or perceived failure, temporary failure. And I've learned so much about resiliency and just waking up every single day and getting back to it, sending out emails and being proactive and building towards a vision and a future that I want to live in for myself and for the artistic world as well. That's really important to me. So it's been a crazy, crazy year for everybody, and it was, it really tested me in a lot of times, but I'm here and I'm still kicking. And I'm loving doing these podcasts. I'm loving doing the vlogs and sharing information that's going to help artists become better artists and more intelligent, business-minded artists, which is really important to me as I've been learning about marketing and branding. As a small business owner now, I'm realizing how much that information can help artists, and that's one of my big goals with all the content that I'm doing, is trying to disseminate that information and help artists make more money with their music, because so many artists aren't making money with their music, unfortunately. And I want to help support and help artists grow. And I don't consider myself exactly an expert, but I'm learning and I want to pass on the knowledge as well. So yeah, that's been the journey so far. I mean, I've worked on some really, really great music this year. I would say the two highlights for me is Profound's 7-song project, which I recorded, I mixed, I mastered, and I also wrote a couple hooks on it, and we really worked together on that to bring it towards like a cohesive vision. And for me, that was a really exciting and really great project to be working on, because Cody's a real pleasure to work with, and he gives ideas, he takes ideas. So in that sense, it was really enjoyable. And then the other big highlight for me is I mixed a full-length project for the group Clockwork, which I'm a part of, and there's so many artists on that project, and it was a really big task to do everything, do all the mixing for all the different vocals, and as well Rosmo, he had to herd all the artists and get everything together, which was a huge task for him, but we brought it all together in the end, and I'm really proud of it. It's not out yet, but when it is out, I will make sure everybody who's listening hears about it, because it's a great project, a big canvas of all the artists in Vancouver, and even artists outside of Vancouver, and even all around the world. So yeah, it's a really cool project. We put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into it, and it came out sounding pretty damn good. So those are the two really big projects that I worked on this year, and I'm really proud of them. So that's the two highlights music wise, I would say, this year. And I want to talk a little bit about my life outside the studio and outside the music business. Obviously I'm a whole human beyond a podcast and an Instagram page and a studio, although I put a lot of time in the studio. But I'm working on I'm really diving deep in my spiritual journey right now, doing a lot of work with the law of attraction and meditation, and trying to shift from a mindset of fear and worry, and trying to shift into one of abundance, and really leaning. This year I'm planning to ease into trust in the universe and having gratitude for everything that I have right now. And just, I worked really hard this year, and I feel like there was a lot of tension around it, and a lot of grabbing, and a lot of holding. And I don't think I want to do that anymore. I want to sort of try and just ease my way through life a little bit more. And I think that energy will really lend itself to a better life. So that's something that I'm really trying to work on outside of the studio, is meditation, writing my intentions down every morning, and just practicing gratitude and ease and trust in my day-to-day life. I'm also have some physical fitness goals. I mean, I eat as healthy as I can. I mean, we all snack here and there, but I'm setting up some like specific physical fitness goals. I want to do a beep test, which I haven't done my beep test yet, and I also did a 100-meter sprint a couple days ago. I clocked in at 15.4, so I want to try and shave a couple seconds off my 100-meter dash, and I'm gonna try and improve on whatever my beep test score ends up being. So, and I'll be posting about that on social media throughout the year, so keep an eye out for that if you're interested or want to follow along. And then another thing that I want to bring more into my life, and I feel like I do a pretty damn good job of this, is supporting local businesses. And I don't think that necessarily we should support local just to support local, because I kind of get annoyed when businesses are like, hey, support your local business. And it's like, that's your selling proposition. Like, what service are you offering that's better than Amazon, or what product? And honestly, most local businesses are offering better services and better products and more sustainable products than Amazon, but I feel like local businesses sometimes need to work on like their sales propositions. But that being said, I feel like if we look into our communities and find businesses that are doing more sustainable work and more ethical work, or even providing better service than these massive corporations, then I think we should support them, because beyond just supporting a local business, I think it's really important that we work to keep our money in our communities. And also, there's really cool people doing business that are treating business as a transformational act. Even in my community, I live in a very small town in Canada. It's like 40,000 or so, and there's a refill store. There's places where you can go get organic, locally grown food almost year round. So that's something that I'm trying to do more for myself outside of the studio, is just supporting these local businesses and keeping our money in our communities a bit more, and also, purchasing from more sustainable and more ethical companies. Those are the three things that I'm kind of working towards outside of the studio in my life. And then my goals for 2021 in the studio and as MuseWorks Audio, I want to mix and master 5 full-length projects. I don't think that's a huge goal. I think that's pretty damn doable, and I'm gonna start pushing it more and more on my social media, because I wanna bring people in who are looking to do a full-length project with me from top to bottom. In terms of mixing and mastering, I really want to just keep working on that and growing my podcast. I have a number in mind of what I want my podcast listenership to be. I won't divulge the numbers on the podcast right now, but I have a specific goal. I want to get bigger guests on here, and I want to have better and better conversations consistently, and I want to keep getting better as a podcast host as well. And on my Instagram, I want to just keep delivering really valuable content that's going to help artists with marketing, help artists with deepening their relationship with creativity as well. Right now I'm breaking down the book, How to Make It in the New Music Business, and it's really good, but I have one that I'm going to do afterwards, which is less about the music business, but just about the spirit of creativity, and it's going to be really, really cool, really cool. And beyond that, I really want to also just continue polishing my craft as an audio engineer. I'm going to be joining Alex Tume's Twitch channel and following that for weekly lessons, and just continuing to learn more deeply, and deepening my education, getting my ears better and better and better, and just really polishing up my craft so that I can stand up with some of the best in the industry is the goal at the end of the day, right? Like, I want to be one of the best audio engineers in Canada in the next 10 years. So consistently, I'm going to be pushing my craft to just get to the next level, always. I want to wrap up with talking about my creative process, because I talk with artists about their creative process all the time, and I think that I have something to offer in terms of that conversation as well, to be honest. I've found a lot of healing through creativity. I was in active addiction from the time I was 16 till about the time I was 24. And I quit drinking. And I feel like that was motivated by my writing. Like, hip hop gave me something bigger than myself to live for, and also having a craft to pour myself into has been incredibly healing in my life as well. So I found a lot of healing, and I'm going to talk a little bit about my biggest experience healing, but I wanted to talk as well about the way that I approach creativity. It's kind of the same way that I've approached my business, in terms of this like relentless get up, get after it, habitual sort of thing, because when it comes to creativity, I've never felt like the most talented person in the room. I've been a talented person in other aspects of my life, and things have come easily to me, but creativity has not been something that I felt came to me easily. It was always a really big struggle, so I feel like I really had to work super hard to get to where I am in terms of my rapping ability and my writing ability and my musicality and my songwriting and my mixing and my mastering. I feel like I've had to work my ass off to do it. I've had to rely more on my willpower than my inherent skill, and I just want to throw that out there, because I think a lot of artists sit around and wait for inspiration, and I don't really believe in inspiration, to be honest. One of the biggest healing experiences for me as an artist, I wrote a song called The Bottle, and this was after I quit drinking. Probably about a year after I quit drinking, I wrote this song, The Bottle, and it was one of those songs that took a really long time. I think there was probably some rewriting, and I got really I wanted to make every word perfect in that song. And I was writing it. I think it's my best writing that I've ever done. I was just so practiced at that point and so in the zone. I was writing every day. I was in the studio every day, just working my ass off. And there's some really good lines in it, and the musicality is good as well. There's a guitar solo, which I obviously didn't do. Yuichiro from Vancouver did it, and he killed it. I remember when I was writing it, I just felt like I just wanted to just lay it all out there, because I had people around me that didn't know about the depths of my struggle as an alcoholic and how hard I had been struggling. I was even still struggling at that point. Just the, getting used to sober life. So it was this, I just wanted to share it with everybody in my life at the time. And funny enough, it sat on the shelf for a little while, because I had shared it with someone who wasn't a close friend of mine, but I shared it with them when they were in the studio one day while we were hanging out, and I was working on some music for him. I showed it to him, and I don't know if you have this, but sometimes I don't like showing people my music because of that experience, because sometimes you'll show it to someone and they'll react unenthusiastically or underwhelmingly, and you can read into it and think that it's not a good song because of the way this one person reacted. And it sat on a shelf for probably a year because I showed it to this one person who didn't like it, or I perceived them to not like it. Ultimately, I did release it, and I did a project called the Seasons Project, where I put out a song on the solstice and the equinoxes throughout the year, with a song representing the seasons. And The Bottle was the last one. It was representing winter and darkness. And me and my friend and I, Jordan from Aperture Van City, went to Vancouver Island, and he found this incredible set in this old abandoned building, and he made this set so incredible. We had one light hanging above me, just sort of swaying, while I sat with a bottle of fake Jack Daniels and rapped this song at the camera. And the video came out incredible, and the song came out incredible. I still look back at that mix, and it's still a good mix to me. I'm sure there's things I do differently nowadays, but it's still a decent mix. And I remember distinctly at the end of it, like him and I, it was late, but we had some coffee, so we sat down and we were out by the ocean, and we sat down by the ocean, and we were just hanging out there. And I remember feeling like, seriously, like a chapter had ended in my life. And in retrospect, I think it had, because a lot of things kind of changed after that. So that was something about my creative process that I wanted to just share a little bit, and my story of creativity, and share how I've approached it in the past. I feel also that I gotta end it off with this, because this is what I've been asking everybody, is what impact do I want to leave in the world with my creations? I suppose that's, the podcast, my YouTube and Instagram, as well as the music that I work on for other people, and my solo music, which, I'm not working on too much right now, but I trust that it will come back around. I think nowadays, and I wrote some notes for everything else, but I remembered that I should ask this question, and I remembered it in the middle of taping, so I'm just gonna kind of wing it. I think empowerment is a big one for me. Like, I want people to be empowered by the content that I create and put out on social media, by the podcasts, and by the music that I work on, and the music that ultimately I create. I want people to be empowered and to feel like they have their destiny a little bit more in their hands. Because I think there's a big feeling of worry and fear and disempowerment. And I want to help people put their destiny back in their hands a little bit. And, that's why I do the vlogs with how to make it in the new music business. Like, this gives a blueprint for artists. And as an artist, I was like flailing around, not knowing what to do. I want to create stuff that gives artists an idea of how, yes, you can make a living in this business. Just approach it with a little bit of proactive mindset. And when I create music nowadays, when I'm sitting down to write, I don't let lines that are pessimistic, I don't let those squeak past anymore. I cross those out. So I guess right now, nowadays, I would say empowerment is the impact that I want to leave in the world. If you're still hanging in there after this long monologue, I want to say thank you. Thank you for listening week in and week out to the podcast. It's been a really, really incredible experience. I know that I feel kind of foolish at the end of every podcast. I say like I really enjoyed this conversation, but I'm so grateful for all the artists who come on, take their time, share their thoughts, and we have these incredible conversations. I learned so much. And yeah, it's just been such a big thing for me in my life, and I just want to grow it and share it with more and more people. So thanks for tuning in, and catch you on the flip side in the new year, and just gonna keep building and growing and making this thing better and better and better. So thanks so much, and happy new year, happy holidays, and keep working, keep staying positive, and let's create some beautiful lives.